The natural world is filled with sound. But so far, we've been hearing only part of it. New audio technology now captures sounds that we can't even hear. For some animals, sound is the key to finding a mate, to impress others, and to warn off the competition. A British woodland in spring. The air is filled with the sound of bird song. It's a sound that brings a lot of people a lot of pleasure, including me. And all these birds are singing for two reasons. One, to establish a territory, and two, to attract a mate. Song travels well in an open woodland. But making yourself heard can be more challenging in a noisier environment. And there is one creature here that has risen to that challenge.
This delightful little bird is a white-throated dipper. For most birds of its size, living beside streams is rather a dangerous place. Feathers, when they're wet on a bird of this size, aren't much good for flying. But the dipper knows how to deal with that.
As it searches for food between the rocks, it stops frequently to cover its feathers with oil from a preen gland, so that they stay waterproof and dry.
Reaching your food underwater is just one of the problems faced by the dipper. Another is, how do you send messages above the noise of the fast-flowing stream by which you live? Well, the dipper has a way of dealing with that as well.
It's the breeding season. And this male uses his voice to find a partner. To our ears, his singing can hardly be heard above the sound of the water. But eliminating the sounds of the river reveals a surprisingly complex and melodious song. Most of the dipper's notes are higher pitched than the noise of the water. This allows others to hear his song more easily. He has attracted the attention of a female. Only males in peak condition can sing complex tunes like this. His song has impressed,
and his new mate will stay with him for the rest of the year and help him defend this territory. Six weeks later, and the pair have been busy. Concealed behind the waterfall is their nest. To ensure a steady supply of food for the chicks, the pair have to defend their stretch of river from others. And it's their song that acts as a warning to rivals. Together, they present a united front. For any intruders, the message is loud and clear. Keeping the chicks well fed is crucial, and not just for their growth. It's needed to develop the part of the brain responsible for learning song. So they will one day become proficient singers like their parents. Two weeks on, and all three chicks have fledged successfully. These youngsters have had the best possible start in life, thanks to their parents and their song. When it comes to finding a mate, power, not melody, is sometimes needed. Autumn in the Rocky Mountains of Canada. This bugling call of the elk marks the change of season and the beginning of the annual rut. This bull is in his prime, and over the next 6 weeks he will push himself close to death in order to mate. The females will only accept the largest and strongest male. And his success will depend on the power of his voice. Stretching his vocal cords, he produces a high-pitched shriek through his nose. It travels over a mile and announces his presence to distant females. At the same time, he makes a guttural groan, which signals his size and strength to nearby males. The deeper his voice, the bigger and stronger he is. And he backs it up
with a physical display. His goal is to gather as many females as possible to ensure that his genes are the ones that are passed on. Now he switches to a different call. A low glunking sound to encourage the females to join him. A successful bull can attract up to 20 females in one season. Chemical cues detected with his tongue tell him which cows are fertile. But retaining so many females is easier said than done. A rival enters the arena. Their bugles signal that they are equally matched. There's only one way to settle this. He must stand his ground or surrender his females. These battles can result in serious injury, even death. For the moment at least, his legacy is secure. On the vast grasslands of Alberta, it takes teamwork to get noticed. Every spring, male sharp-tailed grouse gather on traditional breeding grounds, practicing for their most important performance of the year. And they have a remarkable array of musical instruments at their disposal. Feet are stamped and tail feathers rattled to produce a rhythmic beat. A low cooing sound, amplified by inflatable air sacs, provides the accompanying tune. And it's all to attract the attention of the females. The more males, the louder and more impressive their performance. But sometimes tensions boil over. They need to stop squabbling and work together. Their combined song and dance has attracted a female. Time for the synchronized finale. They all freeze. She takes the opportunity to assess each male. Now she's looking for the fastest tail rattle. And a sound like the popping of a cork. Which females find irresistible. Their display will help her find the fittest male in the group. And this one has caught her attention. But not everyone is sticking to the dance routine. A young, over-enthusiastic male is ruining the performance for everyone. She's seen enough, and she's off. Today didn't go as planned. But tomorrow they'll have the chance to do it all over again. Wild grouse benefit from joining forces. Others must find a way to stand out from the crowd. In the deserts of Arizona, temperatures can soar above 40 degrees Celsius. Rain hasn't fallen here for several months. But things are about to change. Within hours, the rains flood the ground and temporary pools appear. The thunder sends shockwaves through the ground. Which trigger an annual uprising. Breaking free from their underground vaults, desert frogs and toads emerge to breed. They will have just 1 or 2 nights to find a mate, and there are hundreds of frogs in this one pool. Not only that, At least 5 different species are all trying to make themselves heard. How is a female to find a male of her own kind? The answer, it seems, lies in their voice. Each species has its own distinctive call. And now we can see just how the females do it. A specialized acoustic camera shows sounds of different frequencies in different colors. And reveals that each species favors different notes and rhythms, allowing females to pinpoint males of their own kind. When it comes to mating, it generally makes sense to stick with your own species. But desperate times can lead to desperate measures. On the other side of the valley, the rains have been less plentiful, and the pools here are dangerously shallow. This plains spadefoot needs her young to develop quickly before the water disappears. It's a race against the clock, and the calls of 2 different species are deafening. She tunes into the calls of her own kind of male. But surprisingly, she sidesteps them. The pulsing call of a Mexican spadefoot has attracted her attention. He belongs to a different species, but remarkably, she can still mate with him if she so chooses. And in this case, she does, and for a specific reason. His tadpoles will develop faster than those fathered by her own kind, and give her young a chance to reach maturity before the pond dries up. It's an unusual practice, but an effective one, and in an unpredictable and warming climate, solutions like this may help ensure their survival. But her decision comes at a price. Only female offspring produced from this liaison will be fertile. But she's ensured that at least some of her genes are passed on. Frogs aren't the only ones to use their voice under the cover of darkness. On the Pacific coast of North America, the night air resonates with an eerie hum. It's a sound that baffled people for years. It coincides with the arrival of a fish from the open ocean. A plainfin midshipman. For the next 3 to 4 months, this male will risk his life in the shallow intertidal zone. He's searching for a suitable spot to make a nest. This one looks ideal. Time for some housekeeping. One final mouthful, and it's complete. But the females are still in deeper water. He needs a way of attracting their attention. The onset of night is his cue. By vibrating muscles attached to his swim bladder, he produces a low-frequency hum that travels well through water. And he's not alone. He's joined by dozens of others. The sound reaches a staggering 110 decibels, as loud as a lion's roar, giving rise to the mysterious drone that once puzzled the people who lived on these shores. This sound is loud enough to be heard by the females. Guided by the hum, a female arrives, swollen with eggs. The harmonics produced by each male are slightly different, like a sonic fingerprint, and help him stand out from the crowd. His song has drawn her this far, but now his nest is under scrutiny. It's to her liking. Hovering upside down, she lays her eggs on the roof. The next morning, she has gone. The male alone will protect the eggs for the next 3 months. During this time, he won't feed or leave them unattended. A crab, looking for a snack. He sends a warning growl. And a grunt. The crab finally gets the message. But the biggest challenge he faces comes with the daily changing of the tides. Midshipman fish are adapted to breathe air, but the low tide leaves him defenseless. With no means of escape, it's now down to luck. this tide, he's made it. If he and his eggs can survive the hazardous months ahead, he will have helped father the next generation of midshipman singers. Sound travels well underwater. On land, however, it's often deflected or absorbed by the surroundings. Thick rainforests pose a particular challenge. The dense vegetation acts as a sound barrier. And despite the many voices, most messages don't travel far. In the forests of Southeast Asia, however, there is one animal that knows exactly how to make its message heard. A yellow-cheeked, crested gibbon. He moves to a higher position where the canopy is less dense. Unobstructed by trees, his call carries for over a mile across the forest. And he's not alone. His partner and baby are close by. The female now joins in with her own song. Together, their duet sends a message to other gibbons. It's a declaration that this patch is taken, and the fruiting trees within it. Their calls spark responses from other pairs, each protecting their own territory. It's a noisy but effective early morning roll call to establish the order of the forest. While gibbons sing over the forest canopy, deep within the forest, some animals use the plants themselves to transmit their messages. It's a world of sound that we can't hear, but is clear to those who can. A male tree hopper. Only half an inch long, it lives in an acoustic world entirely unlike our own. But with a special laser vibrometer, we can now hear these sounds. He shakes his abdomen 100 times a second to produce a low sound that vibrates through the stem. It's a courtship song that spreads through every part of the plant. A female receives his message through her legs, loud and clear. She's ready to mate and she answers back. But she could be anywhere on the plant. To find her, he needs to keep the conversation flowing. Using her sound to navigate, his direction of travel is determined by whether it hits his front or rear legs first. He must be quick. Her signal may be picked up by other males on the same plant. But this crossroad is proving hard to read. He checks for directions. Now the signal is coming from behind. He's taken a wrong turn. His detour has cost him valuable time. Found her at last. But he's too late. Another male has beaten him to it. However, there are plenty more tree hoppers in the forest. Most animal calls are encoded in their DNA, but some can enhance their repertoire in other ways.
A starling. Oh, and a hungry one at that. They are, in fact, one of our most accomplished singers. And they not only have their own song, but they can also mimic the songs of other species. And it's all done in order to impress the females.
And they're not the only bird that can imitate others. The forests of eastern Australia are home to one of nature's most accomplished mimics. The superb lyrebird. And this mound of earth is his stage. This modest performance won't be enough. Female lyrebirds are fussy and demand more complex songs. But he has a solution. He listens carefully to the sounds around him. And mimics them perfectly. he can learn the songs of over 20 different birds. And he's not only a mimic. By stringing the songs together in his own way, he's also a composer. No two lyrebirds sing exactly the same tune. With age, his songs become more intricate and give him greater success with the females. But the lyrebird's world is changing, and urban settlements have replaced much of its natural home. And with it have gone many of the songsters that he relied on for his tunes. Luckily, this bird is a virtuoso. A car alarm. A camera shutter. And even a crying human baby. This sound is anyone's guess. But it's done the trick and got him noticed. A female. He may have an unusual choice of tunes, but they add to his repertoire, and that's all that matters. If she is impressed, she'll choose him to father the next generation of master songsters and mimics. The story of sound continues as baby animals attempt to survive in a perilous world with the help of their voices.